Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Love Wrestling. Spencer Love here, chatting with yet another of the NWA's finest. And why not double down on the NWA's finest? The country gentlemen joining me today, the NWA United States Tag Team Champions, adorable Anthony Andrews, AJ Cazana. It is great to meet you guys. Great to get the opportunity to chat this morning, so close to the biggest tag team tournament in the National Wrestling Alliance. But I'll start with you, AJ, frankly, just because you hopped in my Twitter DMs first. How you doing, man? Good morning.
So far so good this morning. It's still a little early on my end, but it's I'm kicking. I'm alive. I woke up breathing, and that's half the battle.
I was gonna say it sounds much better than the alternative, hey?
Oh yeah.
And Anthony, how are you doing, friend?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having us on. It's going good here. Like I mentioned a little bit before we started, I'm out in Georgia. Had a show this last weekend, then heading up to Joe Cazana Promotions with AJ tomorrow. So having a fun week back in my hometown right now.
I was just gonna say we were chatting. You ran into some like middle school and high school friends. It's a bit of a homecoming reunion tour for you this weekend.
It's crazy. It's been amazing. So yeah, one friend from middle school, a friend from high school, both came out to a meet and greet that we had here for WrestleMerica in Georgia, and it's awesome because their kids are taking pictures with the NWA United States Tag Team Championship. They're buying cowboy hats for all their kids and taking photos. It's crazy. I'm taking photos with them, but I mean, like I said, their kids are right there doing all of it too. So it's a really neat feeling, especially being back home.
That's got to be great, man. And AJ, you can also allude to it as well, too, right? I mean, I think your first defense of the tag team titles was in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, how cool is it to get the opportunity to bring not just yourselves back home, but bring a legitimate piece of wrestling history? AJ, I'll turn to you first.
Well, we actually won them in Knoxville, so that was an even bigger deal for us. It was exciting for me to have friends and family from all over within a 2 or 3 hour radius come and watch us fight for those titles, and maybe they're the reason that we came out on top and squeaked by the Fixers. But who knows? It's always exciting to perform in front of those that are closest to you in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Not just the hometown win for you guys too, but that was the first live edition of NWA Powerrr ever. I'm not a wrestler by any means, so this might be a pretty dumb question at the end of the day, but like, is there a difference for you guys between wrestling on live television versus the tapings that you guys were doing previously? Or is there a different approach to maybe how you guys take on your opponents? Or I guess what is the difference between live and taped, as silly as that might sound?
I'll jump on that one for a second. So I knew it was going to happen. I was thinking about it the entire trip up to Knoxville because I live out in Texas. It was the first Powerrr live, and then sure enough, AJ and I are sitting back there. We're kind of talking. Somebody comes running back, and not a lot of people know this story. They had some matches that weren't televised. Somebody comes running back right before, and they go, "Hey, the ring broke." AJ and I are just like, all right. They let us know if somebody, especially that's 4 big old boys, that's the Fixers and us. Somebody hits the ropes, we don't know what's going to happen. So AJ and I are out there trying to have a fight, trying to win the tag team championships. Yeah, 5 minutes before, ring broke. So we're like, all right, It's live. We're professionals. Let's go out there and have a fight.
I mean, that even takes it beyond the card subject to change, hey?
Exactly. I don't even know how many times Anthony steps into a ring where he might be the smallest guy. I don't know if that's ever happened to him, weight wise.
Not in the U.S.
But, on top of that, man, it was the hecticness of it being live. Just absolutely was compared to tapes. Tapes, you kind of get to chill around all day. You get to breathe, whatever. Live, it's go, 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 go. I mean, I don't know what happened. But I just remember somebody grabbing us and just saying, hey, it's time. It's like, dude, I had 30 minutes. It's like, yeah, well, now you got 2, so get your butts to the grill. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll throw on my boots and let's go.
Now, do you thrive in that sort of environment? Did you prefer when it was more of a bit of a, like you say, relaxed environment when you're taping? Or where do you guys feel the country gentlemen thrive as far as that goes?
So
I
I know
stay locked and loaded, baby. I know that much.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's great with live. It's boom boom, you're done. Tapes like this last go round, this is where it sucks. This last go round in Chicago, we were the second match of the day, which that match I believe is already aired, and then we were the second to last match of the night. So because they had 2 rounds of taping, so we got to go early, and then we sat all day long.
it
And
must just get
I'm
nice
a
and cold.
stickler. Yeah, I'm a stickler for like I don't eat a ton before my matches, and I don't eat it. And then having that, I was like, okay, I can eat. And they're like, well, actually, you got this other. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll wait until midnight to get a food.
I was gonna say
But
we'll see you in catering, and it's not even fun to see you in catering if you're not
Yeah.
having a bite before.
And I was about to say for that match in Knoxville specifically, I think live helped us so much because AJ's family's there, friends are there. There was so much electricity in that building already, and then us knowing it's live. And I hated the ring breaking, but honestly, even that, because then everything changes and there's so much more electricity, and you know you're live. You know, no matter what happens, that's what people are seeing. We won the tag belts that night, so we're standing there holding the tag belts. Whatever happens, happens, and it's just a different atmosphere. You know, no matter what, you got to go out there, you got to give it your best, and that's it. There's a certain electricity, and especially with all of his fans there, everybody supporting us and just family and everything, I think that helped create that atmosphere that night. I really think it helped.
And AJ, I think it's pretty easy to assume the answer here already, but how cool was it to have your dad involved right there while you guys are lifting the NWA United States Tag Team titles? Like, I can sit here and assume it meant a lot, but I'm sure people don't want me to say that. How did it feel for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I think I may take it for granted because he's been there. Like, I've been very fortunate to have my father around my entire life, other than when he was on the road wrestling or with the railroad, whatever. I know from the outside looking in, from like a third person perspective, like it's really cool that he's a part of our legacy that we're building as a tag team, and just having him there is always a really good thing. But it was more for me. One thing that they didn't get, there's like a clip of me where like I think I hug Anthony, and then like I collapse and roll out of the ring. Oh, like my mom was sitting ringside, and my mom's not a terribly huge wrestling fan. She doesn't really care for it all that much, but she supports. You know, my brother just got into it, so she supports our whole family. She supports me, Dad, and Jackson, and like having her there was, I think, a bigger deal for me than having my father there. But I think that's because I'm so desensitized. Might be the right word. It's a $7 word for the day, boys. I'm so desensitized because he's, like I said, he's always been there for everything. For football, wrestling, academic achievements, whatever. Like, so I don't know, but I mean, from the outside looking at it, it's definitely a pretty cool thing to have any family there, because a lot of times people look at pro wrestling and they're like, "That's what you're doing for a living? Go get a real job." I'm like, dude, if you only knew how hard this was. And then it takes me everything short of just slapping them like that. Good old David Schultz, but. You know, it's a cool thing. It's fun, and I think he'll be at Crockett Cup with us. I'm not 100% sure or not, but
very cool.
I know he'll at least be backstage. So if we win that bad boy, that'll be something. We'll drink a good Pabst Blue Ribbon out of it.
Hell yeah, my friend. Before we move on to the Crockett Cup end of things, Anthony, I did just want to ask you as well, too. You know, you guys are just a little under a year as a tag team so far, which is relatively early for any team in the grand scheme of things with professional wrestling. How cool is it for you guys to win the tag titles, again, this relatively early in your run as a duo?
It's incredible to me. A lot of people don't realize. I know AJ was with them slightly before, but my first show with NWA was June of last year. So Crockett Cup will be 1 year for me. We won the tag belts in 6 months. And that's, I mean, it blows my mind, but of course it makes sense. We're cousins, but as soon as we stepped in that ring together, everything meshed. There was that little, the little growing pains period, but as soon as everything, I mean, that first tag, everything clicked, and then it's just grown from there. So it took, for me, it was 6 months being there, and we won the tag belts. So it's huge, but I mean, especially I'm looking forward to Crockett Cup. That's what makes Crockett Cup so exciting for me, because in the first year we could win, and even less than that we teamed, because we weren't a team that very first show, but we could win the NWA United States Tag Team Championships and the Crockett Cup. And that just, it blows my mind. Like, especially knowing what the Crockett Cup means, knowing what the US Tag Team Championship mean, all the history and the legacy behind it. And AJ just said, like, with his dad being there, he was in the NWA. There's so much history for our team that just ties in with the NWA that would just be insane to me. I think that's why we were able to come in and win the tag team championship so fast. And I'm excited to win the Crockett Cup.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we debuted on the same show, a couple dark matches. I think it's the first time we crossed paths up in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. I thought you had done one show before that, but yeah, then Kentucky was my first show in June. So yeah, we've got.
No, we did Kentucky. We did, and then Crockett Cup. Yeah, that was a good old time. That was my official debut, I think. Was Crockett Cup.
Very freaking cool.
Oh, and see, I've never been to the Crockett Cup. I'm excited and looking forward to it. So this is going to be amazing in North Carolina.
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of history with the Crockett Cup, but do you guys have any memories of the original incarnation of the U.S. tag titles? Obviously, you look at the lineage, the run through the WCW and the NWA prior. Were you guys watching back then? Do you have any memories, or is this just, for lack of a better way to put it, let's not worry about the past. We're right here, right now. AJ, I'll turn to you first.
Take that one. Yeah, he's gonna have all this.
I mean, dude, for me, I mean, it's I do know the lineage, and I have studied. Because I broke into this business as a tag team wrestler. Mm-hmm. I love tag team wrestling. Tag team wrestling is it's going to always hold a special spot in my soul. But when I broke in, it was to watch. We were watching guys like the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Heavenly Bodies. Just those were like the first three teams that we watched. And of course, you've got anything with Jim Cornette's Gold. Regardless of what you think about him, the dude was an absolute wrestling genius when it came to getting his teams over. So I mean, there is a knowledge of the past that is tied to the lineage of these belts. For me, and I'm sure I can speak for Anthony as well, it's about upholding the prestige and the honor of these belts, because they're one step closer to the world titles. Sure, are they the world titles? No, and that's, I think, the ultimate goal for everybody. But knowing the lineage definitely helps me propel forward and try to be an honorable gentleman, if you will, when it comes with the United States Tag Team titles. But on the other side of it, I do think, why worry about the past? It's about moving forward with our reign as U.S. Tag Champions. It's about defending these titles. Again, we've talked about this. We're trying to get an all-continental 48. If we can get up to Alaska, great. If we can get out to Hawaii, fantastic. I love a good vacation to sun my buns. But
I was going to say, temperature-wise, one sounds a little bit more preferable.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But I know that pending we retain, I don't think we're defending at Crockett Cup. I think we're just in the cup. But if we're defending, pending any retentions, because we are defending them tomorrow at Dad's show, the goal is to hop on this World is a Vampire tour, where the Smashing Pumpkins are piggybacking along the National Wrestling Alliance. You like how I did that there, didn't you? Yeah. And there's 20 different cities in 8 or 9 different states, and one in Toronto, Canada. So Toronto, Ontario, Canada, because it's all the whatever.
I knew I liked you guys.
So that'll definitely help us. I don't know. Well, I don't know if we're going to desecrate the titles of that Canadian third world air up there. But
rescinds previous statement.
No, so to wrap that all up, I like having a good time. To wrap that all up, it's the past does matter. and it does set the precedent for how we should behave and how we should carry these titles. And but in the grand scheme of things, it's about moving forward and how can we cement ourselves as one of the greatest United States? Are we going to reach the Midnight Express level? Great. God, I hope so. But, you know, like, how do we cement ourselves as one of the top United States tag teams, champions of all time? And I think that's what we're working on doing right now. So the winning this Crockett Cup, again, this Crockett Cup's huge. We win this bad boy, it's freaking game over.
Yeah.
And then we'll go slap Raw Rebellion around and win their titles, and we'll just be triple champs.
And I was going to say, talk about a great way to cement a legacy. And we talk about moving forward. Let's move forward. The 2023 Crockett Cup is a little over 2 weeks away, taking place on June 3rd and 4th in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. God, it's hard not to say that like Justin Roberts sometimes. How are you guys feeling heading into it? Obviously, you guys are the U.S. Tag Team Champions. You guys are undefeated since winning those titles in the NWA, but this is a whole different animal. So, Anthony, just in the lead up to what I would call the biggest tag team tournament in pro wrestling, let's not make any bones about it. How are you feeling mentally, physically, emotionally, every Lee in between?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're so excited for. It's Crockett Cup. It has all the history, all the lineage. It's the most prized possession in tag team wrestling. But the thing is, we're the NWA United States Tag Team Champions. We've defended against so many teams. The Spectaculars, and now I'm blanking. We won them from the Fixers. We won
the
against
Savages, all these tool bags.
Thank you. The Savages. We're traveling around the United States. I know I've done, 10 states in 5 months. AJ's been overseas with the championships. So that's the thing, is we've beat all these teams. This is our chance to show that we deserve the Crockett Cup, that we can beat all the teams in the NWA. There's no greater team in the U.S. than the Country Gentlemen. That's it, period. And we can actually beat La Rebellion for the Crockett Cup. Even if we don't face them directly, if they're knocked out of the cup, we'd love for the finals to come down to us. We'll beat them for the Crockett Cup before we beat them for the World Tag Team Championships. But it's so huge. It's so monumental because of all the history. But like AJ said, it's about moving forward. We've defended these championships, and the Fixers held the NWA United States Championships. They didn't hold these. These belts were given to us. They were presented to us because Billy Corgan wants this and us to be the face of tag team wrestling for the NWA. That's exactly what it's about. So when we win the Crockett Cup next month, that's just going to cement even further. And like AJ said, then the next step is the world. We've already taken over the U.S.
I was going to say, that's how you know you got a great tag team, is I'm listening to you and I'm watching AJ just nod along. Like, it seems like you guys are right aligned as far as that goes. Hey, AJ?
Oh, yeah, man. You know, it's, again, I think I said this in another promo. There's one team in this Crockett Cup that can even hold a candle or hold any kind of gravitas, I guess might not even be the right word. Who gives a crap? Who can even say that we're not the best team in this cup? And that's Law Rebellion. That's because they've got one up on us right now with the World Tag Team titles. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how this is going to be bracketed. I don't know where we're going to end up in the bracket. But if we're not a number 1 or number 2 seed, then somebody's getting slapped. Because there's nobody else in the National Wrestling Alliance that has stepped foot with us that hasn't left the ring beaten, battered, or bruised. And that includes the Savages, and that includes the Fixers, and that includes anybody else that's about to walk into the ring with us. The downside to this, Anthony, I keep cutting him off because that's just what I do. The downside to this is that there's 20-something teams in this bad boy. There's 2 from AAA that we're going to have to scout the piss out of because I don't lucha. So I don't know what they've got going on down there, but there's a lot of teams to look at and a lot of concoctions like Odinson and Kratos are now in it. You got the TNT, the Hughes brothers, the boys of Devon Dudley. I've locked horns with them a couple times. So they're a pretty good up and coming tag team. We've got, I don't even know. Those are the 2 that really shocked. And then the AAA guys. I don't know anything about those guys. I know they wrestled down in Mexico, but I don't know nothing about them. So we've got our hands full.
That's what I want to touch on, is exactly what AJ was talking about. this is a tag team tournament, but you have to look at the other people that are in there because you have people like Trevor Murdoch, an NWA champion. You have Jax Dane, an NWA champion. You have these people that have traveled all over the country, all over the world. You have Mike Knox. You have up and comers, like I said, Odinson, Dak Draper, Mims. We can prove it on every level. That's why it's so exciting because it's tag teams, but then you have NWA champions. And if you pin an NWA champion, I don't care if they have the championship on them at that moment. Those are people who have cut their teeth. Look at famous tag team wrestlers. Again, Trevor Murdoch, Chris Masters. You have all of these different incarnations of just mashups. If you pin any of those guys, that just cements our legacy even more. So I'm excited about that aspect of it too. We love tag team wrestling. We already know we're the best tag team in there. And that's not bragging. We know what we are. And so if we're pinning NWA champions, we're pinning former tag team champions, all of these things, that just cements our legacy even further.
Couldn't agree.
I think Mike Tyson said it best, though, boys, is, Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch might be the only team that I look at that gives me a little heebie-jeebies because I know both those boys are willing to do whatever it takes to win anything. And sometimes they might get a little unhinged, but I think Tyson said it best when he said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So.
Well, there is going to be a lot of mouth punching, not just Friday, Saturday, this weekend in Georgia, but coming up at the Crockett Cup. Before we close it out here, guys, and before we let you plug your shows and your social media here, we've got about 5 minutes left. So I did want to ask, the Crockett Cup obviously is a huge staple for the NWA. You guys both made your debuts relatively close to it last year, but I did want to ask you guys about last year's Crockett Cup champions, the Briscoe Brothers. AJ, I know you brought it up in an interview with GSM that they were a potential dream match for you guys. That's obviously off the table for the worst of reasons, but were there maybe any memories or the influence that they had on you guys as a tag team?
Dude, those brothers they were so good, and they are good. Mark's still one of the nicest men I've ever met in my entire life, as far as just being beacons of joy in the back. Like, they're rough dudes. We're all misfits. We're all rough, but they both had huge hearts, man. And like, they were they loved tag team wrestling as well. You get lots of critiques from them, lots of knowledge and truth bombs dropped because they're not afraid to tell you. They're not afraid to tell you the truth, and a lot of people can't handle the truth when it comes from a couple rough and rowdy dudes. But man, like, that's my biggest memories on them. Of course, the Crockett Cup win was incredible. I watched again. I was at the Crockett Cup last year, is where I debuted. So getting to watch them go through that was an exciting thing for me because, again, like, they've always been one of my dream matches. But yeah, they're just incredible people. And if I ever get to cross paths with Mark Briscoe again, I'll definitely let him know what I think about him. So, yeah.
Always love closing her on a positive note. And, it's not like it gets any harder the way that things sort of ended there, but all you hear about Mark Briscoe is what a wonderful human being he is. And, it's a small bit, speaking as a fan of solace on my end. Excuse me as I walked away there. As you can tell, my dog was chewing on my Mickey Mouse in the back. I had about 40 minutes that dog was pretty okay, but 41 got a little bit tough on his end of things. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the time this morning. Best of luck in the upcoming Crockett Cup and with your upcoming title defenses here. AJ, I'll turn to you first. I know that you guys have some shows this weekend, and obviously you guys have some social media that people should be paying attention to in the next few weeks, months, years, forever in the history of the country, gentlemen. So where can people find you online and inside the ring here in the near future, friend?
Online, it's AJ Caz1 on Instagram, AJ Caz on TikTok and Twitter, and then AJ Cazana on Facebook. I'm at Joe Cazana Promotions tomorrow, tagging with Anthony against the Ill Begotten for a nice little NWA Crockett Cup tune-up, United States Tag Team title match, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm at SPCW in La Follette, Tennessee, one of my home promotions here, doing a little home loop Saturday. So Anthony's going off back to Texas. I'm going to stay home in Tennessee. And T-shirts, you can get all our T-shirts. My t-shirts at angrylemonade.net. Got to drop the merch, baby. Also, man, this is the thing I about forgot to say. We will have exclusive Crockett Cup shirts featuring one thoroughbred Anthony Andrews and one brute from Bullhead AJ Cazana, possibly in Looney Tunes form. I don't know. But it will be a Crockett Cup exclusive. We're going to do pre-sales starting whenever this airs, I'm assuming. It'll start Friday, so it'll start tomorrow from now. Friday, May 19th, pre-sales will drop online at angrylemonade.net. And then we'll have a very limited amount at Crockett Cup. So, and then once Crockett Cup's over, we ain't selling no more. They're coming off the website. So get them while
you
hot,
can, friends.
Get them while they're hot like pancakes.
Yeah.
Anthony, where can the people find you, friend?
So as far as upcoming events, June 10th, I'm going to be back here in Georgia for WrestleMerica and for Scythe. June 24th, actually have TSW in Dallas, Texas. And then July 8th is one of my favorites. I consider it my home promotion. It's RCW in San Antonio. Sorry, that's July 2nd, not July 8th. Getting my dates mixed up. But July 2nd is RCW in San Antonio. As far as shirts, like AJ said, get those Crockett Cup shirts. That's the biggest thing I'm pushing. I don't care about any other shirts right now. Get those Crockett Cup shirts because I've seen a preview.
Now, you got shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees too, don't you?
I do. ProWrestlingTees.com/
Get your money, daddy, dang.
I know, but those Crockett Cup shirts, I'm gonna be grabbing them for you too. And then online, my big thing right now is TikTok, and then on Instagram, look up Thoroughbred Anthony Andrews, and you'll be able to find all that on there. And then be sure to tune in NWA Crockett Cup. It's going to be on Fight TV, or just come out live and check it out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
It's a great little city.
Support the great people who are supporting us by hopping on the show, taking the time for a random individual in Edmonton, Alberta to pick their brains, heading into the biggest tag team tournament in professional wrestling. Anthony, AJ, it's been an absolute blast. It was great to meet you. Great to chat with you guys this morning, and best of luck in the next couple of weeks. Friends, I'm going to do my best Excalibur because we got a minute left here on Zoom. So make sure that you follow up with Love Wrestling wherever podcasts are played, videos are viewed, or awesome content is created by awesome individuals. You can find us at Love Wrestling CA, and make sure you're tuned into the Crockett Cup June 3rd and 4th. You can find it on Fight, as Anthony mentioned, and you can find all of the tickets, the links, the shirts, the everything in between in the description below. For Anthony, for AJ, for the country, gentlemen, your NWA United States Tag Team Champions, I'm Spencer Love. We'll see you on the next one.